Okay, so I've almost spent my first week here full time. Had a lot of small chores and running into town and buying little bits and pieces and things like that. So a lot of time is spent driving around, but definitely had a few things done. And we've got our floors in, which was pretty important. So I'll flick the camera around. We've been able to bring in some extra furniture just to make the place a little bit more livable. And we've been able to upgrade from the swag on the floor to now having a fully completed floor. Haven't nailed it off yet or screwed it down because don't know if we're going to be able to see. If you look carefully, some people will be able to see it. Where's my finger? We've got a big curve here, and that's because the bearer that runs this way significantly up to around 60 mil in some spots higher than the rest of the house. Seems like this side of the house is sunken into the ground. We do have black soil here. So after having a bit of a look and discussions with one of my neighbours, we set up a level downstairs, measured all the corners and posts. We thought that we were just going to be able to use a chainsaw and lop off 30-40 mil and even out the house by just trimming the tops off these posts, but actually it's not going to work because in this very far right hand corner and straight ahead right at the very far end over here and in that corner right over there, there's bearers that are like major, I don't know what you'd call them, like intersections or major structural parts of the house that are joined and bolted, screwed, have these like reinforcing things that are got a big pin nailed off into the side of the stump, then with the steel support, angled support that goes up into the bearers with a bolt that goes straight up with a big old school flat nut. They're all locked in place. Those bolts actually have holes that are drilled up through the bearer, and they're just going to be very difficult to remove. They would have been placed from on top, but to actually pull out and to maneuver while they're joined from different directions, it's just going to be very hard. So it's actually going to be easier to get like a 20-ton jack or so, hydraulic jack, some acro props, and it's actually going to be easier to lift and raise the rest of the house by packing it up here and there. And the measurements are all over the place. Like, I think we have the highest is about plus 560 high, with this corner here straight ahead over here and this whole row down here are around the 560 mark, and then some of the ones down here are like 470. So yeah, there's some really big differences there. And so before we go and screw off, nail, or whatever I'm going to do to fasten the floor finally, I think it's going to be better to use this as like a bit of a expansion sort of area, level the place, and then once it's settled, then we can screw it off. Because I'm afraid if we screw it or nail these hoop pine boards, they may split. It is only pine, and it's fairly expensive. That was, I think it was $26 a lineal meter of that hoop pine. So we were really actually lucky. I was able to get very little wastage using that. I was able to maximize the all the timber available by shifting around all the joins and stuff, and using the odd size spacings between the joists. We're able to actually walk away with, I think we got one bit that's about 1100. That's wastage, but it's also got a split in it, so it's not really wastage. And then we got like lots of just smaller bits that are around 110, 120, and then less. So we didn't actually waste much money there. And then so this is where we had to do the final join, and this is cypress pine. We just put one row of cypress pine the whole way along, and I had to rip this by hand, set up a straight edge, and we just cut the tongue off but kept the groove in the back. And what we done is we slightly lifted these two pieces here the whole way along. We just lifted them up a little bit, sat this join down into the groove. Had some I don't have them on hand, but had the paint scrapers sitting in between here, and as I was tapping down with a mallet, I was pulling the paint scrapers out, and then boom, they just fit in together, and they're pretty tight. It's probably tighter than you want to be, maybe, but apparently over time these will shrink. So the neighbour seems to think that these gaps here would have been a lot smaller when they were constructed, and then over the years the timber, as it's dried out, has shrunk and the gaps appear. So the same thing might happen here. So yeah, overall I'm happy, the missus happy. It seems to have made a big difference in holding in the heat now that we don't have big holes in the floor. So I think last night was a very successful, warm, cozy night. We had one of these, we brought in a futon, so it's a couch laid out. We just grabbed our mattress and that from the swag, put it on here. But what we do have is these Kings brand sleeping bags. Over the last couple of years that we've had them, they've actually been too hot for me to sleep in and to use. They ended up being perfect. And I didn't even use them as a sleeping bag. I used mine as a blanket with the fire going. It's just worked out really good. I've got a recliner chair now. We've got a little bit of, this is outdoor furniture, this stuff, but it's gonna get us through. So we're slowly turning it into a bit of a home. We've got a water dispenser over there, and I'm starting to make some friends with the birds. We've got a murder of crows that lives nearby. I might even just... yeah, we've got a murder of crows that lives nearby, and they're obviously the dominant bird. But we have magpies, and every morning I've been going outside, feeding them whatever meat scraps and bones that we have. And we have a bull ant, our guardian bull ants out the front. I feed them over near there, so any little scraps are going to get cleaned up by the bull ants. But then the maggies come in first, and as long as I'm standing there, the crows sort of stay back. And then once I leave, the crows come in force, swoop down, and have blues with the magpies. But I'm going to keep that up because they're going to be my early warning system, I believe, especially when it comes to snakes and things like that. So having magpies and large numbers of crows, hopefully they're going to warn us, let us know when there's snakes about. Maybe they might do something about the snakes as well. So yeah, that's the plan. Okay, everybody. Thank you. See ya.